Does your jazz guitar sound like this? Instead of sounding like this? I used to sound exactly like the first example. And here's the frustrating part. You might know all the right scales and chords, but something still sounds off. Amateur, like you're trying too hard. That was me for years until I discovered it wasn't about knowing more theory or faster licks. It was about 5 specific habits that instantly give you away as a beginner. And I bet you're doing at least one of them. If you're new here, my name is Chase Maddox and I'm a professional guitarist for most of my life and teach almost 200 people every day how to play jazz guitar with confidence in Chase's Guitar Academy. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what those 5 mistakes are, and more importantly, how to fix them. The crazy part, most jazz teachers never talk about these because they're too busy teaching theory and technique and haven't taught hundreds of guitar students like I have analyzing what's going wrong. So when I started paying close attention to what my less experienced students actually do differently, everything changed. And once you hear what these 5 things are, you'll start noticing them in other amateur playing too, maybe your own. These fixes work immediately. You don't need to practice for years to hear the difference, but you will need to practice if they've already become a habit. So let's dive in, starting with the biggest mistake I hear everywhere. Mistake number 1, you're sliding down at the end of every phrase. It sounds something like this. I get it, it feels jazzy, right? It feels expressive, but here's the problem. When you do it constantly, it sounds like you're apologizing for every phrase you play. It's like ending every sentence with, you know?
You know what I'm saying?
It becomes a crutch and it sounds like you're not confident. Really listen to Wes Montgomery, George Benson, or Joe Pass. They use slides strategically, not as a default ending to every phrase. If we dig deeper into why this is happening, it comes down to not knowing how your phrase should end. And you don't know that because you haven't paid enough attention to how different notes sound in relation to the harmony. Let's say we're ending our phrase on C major 7. Instead of sliding away to end the phrase, I want to confidently choose the final note of my phrase based on the kind of resolution I'm hearing. For example, what does it sound like to end on the root? What does it sound like to end on the 3rd? Or what about the 9th even? The fix is simple, but requires discipline.
Discipline is your best friend.
For the next week, practice ending your phrases clean. No slides. Force yourself to commit to the note you're landing on and really listen to how it relates to the harmony. Once you break the habit, you can add slides back in as a conscious choice, not as a safety blanket. And here's the thing, when you do use them sparingly, they become powerful. They mean something. They add a bluesy element to what you're playing. But there's an even more obvious beginner tell, and it's what I like to call the double tap.
Number 2, double tap.
Mistake number 2, you're ending phrases with double tapped notes. Let me demonstrate for you real quick. Now this drives me crazy because I used to do it all the time, and until you have someone tell you that this is what you're doing, it's very unlikely that you even realize you're doing this. But other people do notice this. They just don't know how to tell you that that's what's happening. You play a phrase and then you hit that last note twice. You repeat it. And it sounds like you're not sure if you're done. It's nervous energy. It's like saying at the end of every sentence, or if you're talking in a group and you're not sure if people are hearing you, you say it again. It makes you sound unsure. Here's what happened to me. I was so focused on getting the notes right that I forgot about the rhythm and the space. Jazz is also about confidence and intention. Every note should have a purpose and should sound like we intend to play it. Now people get confused here because there are iconic phrases that end with a repeated note. Listen to this classic blues lick that I'm sure you've heard before. The problem is you've taken phrases like this and generalized that as your default phrase ending. Here's the simple fix if you're overdoing repeated notes. Whenever you would want to end with a double tap, play the second note up a third, like this. Or just let the note hold and take up space, like this. And this connects directly to mistake number 3, which might be the biggest one yet. Your solos are like run-on sentences with no breaks. It sounds a little bit like this. Oh my God, most people think of this as guitar noodling. You just play a continuous stream of notes with no punctuation, no breathing, no phrasing, no pausing. It's like talking without taking a breath. The listener gets exhausted and your playing sounds less and less confident. Here's why this happens. You're afraid of silence. You think if you stop playing, you'll lose momentum or the audience will get bored, or a big one for a lot of people, you'll lose your place in the song. But the opposite is actually true. The spaces between your phrases are what makes the phrases meaningful and can actually help us keep our place in the music better. Let me demonstrate the difference between these two approaches over the song There Is No Greater Love. Compare the run-on approach to what I'm about to do. First, let's hear the run-on approach. To a more conversational approach. Can you hear the difference? The second one has more of a story. It has some question and answer. It leaves space to breathe. The solution is learning essential jazz vocabulary, real phrases from the masters that already have natural beginnings, middles, and ends. Don't just practice scales. Practice actual musical sentences that you can use as building blocks. Start with simple 2-5-1 phrases from players like Joe Pass and Grant Green. Learn how they construct complete musical thoughts. But even if you fix your phrasing, there's still a dead giveaway that screams beginner. Mistake number 4. Everything you play is diatonic, all scale-based with no chromaticism. What I've been doing so far is an example of that overly diatonic approach. It makes your playing sound like a guitar exercise, not actual jazz. And you need to watch out for this when you watch other YouTube lessons and are trying to learn jazz guitar. A lot of what is out there is overly diatonic and not really representative of real jazz guitar playing. Jazz harmony is built on tension and release, chromatic notes that create tension. But here's what I see beginners do. They learn the modes, they learn which scale goes with which chord, and then they play everything straight from the scale. It might be academically correct, but it's boring. It has no edge or musical interest. Listen to any great jazz solo. It's full of chromatic approach notes, passing tones, enclosures, or just plain wrong notes. Let's take a listen to what it would sound like adding in some chromaticism and notes that aren't quite in the scale. They'll create movement and sophistication, and they are what make jazz sound like jazz instead of other popular genres. Start simple. Practice approaching chord tones chromatically from above, like this. Then work on enclosures, surrounding your target notes from both sides. Don't go crazy with this at first. Even adding 20% chromaticism to your playing will make a huge difference. Now, there are 3 types of chromaticism that I teach within my 9 Essential Jazz Patterns curriculum. And there's still one more mistake that might be the most counterintuitive one yet. Mistake number 5, You never repeat anything. No theme, no connection to the melody. And this is the opposite of storytelling. You're just playing random ideas that come to your head with no thread connecting it all together. And we all know great jazz solos are like great conversations. They have themes that develop and return. They reference what came before. Listen to Sonny Rollins on St. Thomas, or John Coltrane on My Favorite Things, or Grant Green on What Is This Thing Called Love. In that solo, he plays the same lick 13 times. I did a whole lesson on it. They take simple ideas and explore them, develop them, bring them back. But beginners think every idea has to be unique, or that they need to show off everything they know in every solo. So they never start simple and develop any ideas. Here's the fix. Start your solos by referencing the melody. Quote it, paraphrase, build on it. Again, the essential jazz patterns help with this. Let me give you an example now using the essential jazz pattern of a 1, 2, 3, 5. Then, when you introduce new ideas, bring them back later in the solo. Create connections. A very simple way of doing this is using the same essential jazz patterns again in your solo. So by working on the essential jazz patterns, you actually are automatically building in repetition in your ideas. You're not just picking random notes from a scale depending on the chord, which isn't how anyone actually solos anyways that's any good. The solution here is to really listen deeply to jazz solos. Don't just listen for the notes, listen for the repetition, the themes, the development. You can even make a game of it. Pick a solo and identify every time the player repeats or develops an idea. This is really what separates great improvisers from note spillers. Now I know what you're thinking, Chase, this is a lot to work on. But here's the thing. I've seen students fix all of these mistakes in just a few weeks, and the transformation can be incredible. Beyond listening to more jazz, the solution is the same for all of these. Work on the 9 essential jazz patterns and how they connect together to form essential jazz vocab. No new theory, no complex techniques, just fixing these habits by creating new habits that work. And the best part, these fixes work immediately. You don't need to practice for years to hear the difference, and they benefit advanced players as much as beginners. If you want to learn from my step-by-step structured curriculum and get my personal help every day of the year, I'd love to help you out. Check out Chase's Guitar Academy at the link below. And if you're just getting started with jazz improvisation and wondering what to practice first here, check out this video where I break down the very first thing you should work on to start improvising with confidence. Right here, click it. Where is it? One of these. I'll see you there.